And I remember her coming back with the 2 suitcases and bawling like a baby. If they had told you that they couldn't look after us, what would you have done? And she said that she would have had to stay because we're her children. She would have had to stay and look after us. And I just told her, there's nothing for me to forgive you for.
What's your name?
What? Do you want my married name or do you want my name from Carriacou?
Both.
All right then. Sharon Calder, plus McLean, because I'm married to a McLean, who's not actually from Carriacou, from another Caribbean island. But I grew up in where did I grow up? Meldrum. I was born in Meldrum actually, then went to Mount Pleasant for a few years and then ended up back in Meldrum at my grandmother's.
So who were your parents?
My mother was Margaret Codjo and my father was David Calder. My mother's from Meldrum and my father's from Mount Pleasant Quarry. You know. Mm.
So what made you, so first of all, what was life like in Carriacou for you when you were younger, before you came?
What was life like? Well, where did we start? Right. For the first few years of my life, I mean, it wasn't very much, probably about 4 or 5 years, we lived in Quarry. This is where my dad came from, and it was fine. We lived in a little tiny estate where we had all our own fruits and pears, guava, and everything. We had cistern where we used to get water from, and then my dad left and came to the UK. So we then went to Meldrum to stay with my grandmother and stayed there for the rest until the time came for us to come and join them in England.
So what kind of, what did you get up to as a child? What kind of games, or did you enjoy school, or?
I enjoyed learning. I enjoyed learning. I went to Dover School. Um, Games that we used to play. This is really strange because we used to play at night. We had cousins who used to come up from Grenada to come and see us, and we used to play games like I don't know if anyone remember this game. Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. We have a grain of corn. Yes, sir. What are you gonna do? To that effect. I don't remember the exact word. What other games did we used to play? I can't really remember much about games that we used to play or anything like that. But being at the grandmother's house, there was about how many of us was there? It was myself, Monica, Henry, Ken, Kathy, Carlisle. Who else was there? My aunt. But before that, when my mother left us with my grandmother, she went to Grenada to try and sort out her papers so she could come to England to join my dad. And we were left with our grandmother and Auntie Iris and Uncle Sydney. And shortly after, my grandmother was rushed to hospital in Bel Air. And
That's Tam Rosie.
yes, yeah, and she died. And I remember as a little girl, um, Auntie Iris coming. She went up to the hospital with one suitcase. I'll never forget it. And coming back, because at the time we were able to see up in Bel Air where the hospital, well, part of it anyway. And I remember her coming back with the 2 suitcases and bawling like a baby, just bawling all the way down. And she came, and that was my grandmother gone. And then the funeral, we had to go and stay by cousin Mina's house across the road while the funeral went on because we weren't allowed to go to the funeral. And then my aunt came up from Trinidad to look after us. And that was it, basically.
So was it a big funeral from what you heard or
Um,
part of?
I can't remember exactly how big the funeral was. I can't remember. But I remember us sitting by cousin Mina's house and just watching the people go in, and they go up to the cemetery. But at the time, I don't know why, I was of the belief that the cemetery was at the bottom below where the house was. But I think because I was so young, I was a bit confused with that bit. And then that was it. We just got stuck there for how long, and waiting to come and join our parents. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what year did you come up to England?
It was it March the 24th, 1961.
And how did you get from Carriacou to England?
All right. We went from Carriacou to Grenada by boat. Then we went from Grenada to Trinidad by plane. And then we took a ship from Trinidad. And it took us, I think it was 2 weeks to get here.
Wow.
Yeah, on the ship, it was really exciting, even though it's the first time we've been on sea for that length of time. So was quite sick, and it's always having travel sickness. And they used to give us glasses of diluted Nestle's milk to drink, and it used to stop us from being sick. But it was a beautiful journey. Stopped at quite a few islands. Because we were young, we weren't allowed to go ashore, but the ladies who brought us up, they would go and they would come back with toys and stuff like that, which we never had before. So it was exciting. And I remember myself and Kathy had this doll, and the doll must have been about 3 foot high, and just used to walk around like you were taking a little sister or brother across. It was good. It was good.
So there were like three of you, did you say, coming over?
No, five.
Five.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I was the oldest, 8. My brother was 7. Kathy was 5. Carlisle was 4. And Ellis was 3.
So you had to be the parent to bring them over.
Well, the lady who brought us up, her name was Bido. She was in charge of us. With her 2 children.
So you came into what part of England did you come into?
We came straight to Southampton. We came to Southampton and then went to Birmingham.
Who came to pick you up?
My dad.
Did he?
Yeah, my dad he brought all our winter coats, and the coat that he brought for us, I'll never forget it, because me and my sister had the same coat, and it was green with the collar. What's the collar had patterns on it. You see it now, and those coats are quite costly now. But it was at the time, it was just wow, what a beautiful looking coat kind of thing. Now I see them sometimes on retro places.
Yeah.
So it was nice, a good trip. Swimming, we could do sports on the egg and spoon race on the boat and everything. It was nice. It was really nice, good trip.
So from Southampton, where did you go to?
Birmingham. We went straight to Birmingham. I stayed there for a good few years and then left and came to London.
So what was Birmingham like when you arrived?
Strange. Because the climate, we came in the midst of winter. So seeing all this snow, and you're walking around and you got smoke coming out your mouth, and you're trying to hide the smoke because you're fearful in case your parents see smoke coming out your mouth and they think that you're smoking. It's just it was strange. It was a really weird thing it was. But and then we just settled in Birmingham. That was it. Go to school, come home, go to church. We didn't have a lot of family members around, or even people that we knew from that we'd grown up with. So it was meeting new people, making new friends, and um, it was, what was it really like? I'm trying to think. We made some new friends, but it was difficult because the way that our parents were bringing us up, we were quite enclosed. So sometimes you'd find that the friends that we would meet, they wouldn't want us to associate with them friends because they were strict Adventists. So the culture, the religious thing, kind of inhibited the mixing of such. But I do appreciate it though. I do appreciate that now. I do. At the time, I didn't, but now, now I do. Yeah. Mm.
Wow. So did you meet up with many people from Carriacou in Birmingham at the time?
No, the only family that we sort of met with were the Sylvesters. There weren't. I'm trying to think if there was any others. I can't think of any others at all. No, just the Sylvesters. No one else.
So you used to meet up with Sylvesters. Where did you used to go?
Um. Oh gosh, what was the name of the street? There was like a few streets. There was Hope Street, Jesson Street, and Nichols Street, and those three streets had a few people from Carriacou. Some of them we didn't know, but like the Owen, um, there was Owen Yeoman. I don't even think Decky was here when we came. But between my mother and their mother was quite close, so we used to mix between the two homes, and that was it.
So when you think about about food now, what food most reminds you of home?
Cocoa, cocoa and okra, isn't it? Or pea soup, pigeon pea soup. What is mostly nowadays called gunga pea soup. Yeah. Um, we never. I know that there was a lot of pork being cooked and things like that, but we never had that privilege, or we didn't indulge in the pork. So that's it, yeah. So it's just cocoa, pigeon peas, chicken, and ordinary food.
Who taught you how to cook?
Who taught me how to cook? Um, I don't know, I think just watching my mum. Yeah, just watching my mum and just learned from there. She was always in the kitchen, baking and cooking and that. But saying that, my parents were always kind of on the like healthy eating. They love salads, and um, they'd always be careful how they prepared food and stuff like that. So that's from my mum. Yeah.
So what kind of like cultural traditions do you keep? Have you kept anything from Carriacou? Any kind of traditions or?
Um, Not so much while I was at home because of the way my parents were. A lot of the traditions that they never really believed in, they didn't indulge as such. All right, if you had a death in the family, everybody would come together. Christmas, everybody would come together and things like that. But a lot of the celebrations and things we weren't allowed to partake in them. So after I got older and I left Birmingham and I came to London, I started getting involved in the whole Saraka thing and the different festivals that they do down here.
What's Saraka for people that don't know?
How do I explain Saraka? You just go in, everybody's there playing music, playing games, and cooking food, all different food. You have provision, stew peas, pork, chicken, bakes, fried bakes. What else did they have? Well, I said provisions anyway, so provisions would cover everything, but you have the stew peas and curry mutton and that, yeah.
And you
Hmm.
have music and things.
Yeah, music, card games. I forgot the name of the card game that they normally play.
All fours.
Dominoes and oh, that's
All
right. Yeah,
fours.
that's it. Yeah, and dominoes and things like that. Yeah.
And you meet up at someone's house or
No,
something.
they're normally in the hall.
Mm.
In the hall, normally. Yeah.
So it'd be all loads of Carriacou people there, strictly.
Mm-hmm. 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 And I think that's the time that I really got to be able to know more about what Carriacou involved, what the culture and the whole family. I think on the whole, Carriacou people on the whole, they come together as one
Mm.
from time to time, and that's where I got that family, that sense of family from. That's where it came from. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Interesting. So, what do you miss most about Carriacou?
Um, what do I miss most of Carriacou? As a young child, leaving Carriacou and coming to England, it was something I really didn't want to do because I remember they used to tell tales about what was going to happen to us when we come to England and things like that. So
Like what? What did they
I
tell you?
don't know if I should say this. I used to say the white people gonna do with us. What white people are gonna do to us as black people and stuff like that. It was weird. It was frightening. So I remember breaking down before I left because I didn't want to come because I didn't want this to happen. I got here and I think I found favor when I got to this country though. The first school I went to, the teacher was really, and the head teacher, they were all on my case, wanting me to learn. They were supporting me all the way. And they used to talk to my parents, call them in and talk to them about it. And we just got on. But then you come to the country and you don't settle and you just have to keep moving, and everything just begin to go downhill.
Is that
And
what
that's what
happened?
happened. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So you enjoyed school?
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Until I got to for the first 2 years, I enjoyed school,
Mm.
and then in the last year, because we'd moved so often, the head teacher was just mean, proper mean, mean. I'll never forget her. Miss Tozer. It's life. Mm.
So, so what did your parents or grandparents teach you about Carriacou? Did they teach you anything
No,
specific?
no, no. My parents, like I said, they were strict Seventh Day Adventists. So their whole thing was being in the church and the education. That's all they were. That's all they wanted for us, right? We had to have a good education. We had to be in the church, and that was it. And I mean, they grew up in Carriacou, so they didn't have the knowledge to say that they were allowed to show love to the children. They what they said was how it went. Children weren't allowed to express themselves or anything like that, which was weird. But I mean, nowadays we encourage our children, but we didn't have that growing up. Didn't.
Mm. So what do you want the next generation to understand about Carriacou?
I try to encourage my children to come to Carriacou, and I'm going, come down, let's go to Grenada, let's see what's happening. But it's very difficult because they've got both, they've got two different cultures in them. And the other half of their culture seems to be the more dominant one. So it seems to take over. It's very difficult for me to get them. I mean, sometimes there are, because I'm in London now, there are lots of people locally who have Carriacou culture in them, and they will go and they will spend time with them and they enjoy it, and they'll come back and they'll always talk about it. Especially my youngest, he goes over to Fulham and places like that, and he'll come back and he'll be like, "Mom, the soca scene's nice out there. It's nice out there. The people are different, and it's really enjoyable." But the other half of them, it's a learning game for me to get through to them about Carriacou. Mm.
What does Carriacou mean to you now at this time?
It's I enjoy going there. It's my home. It's where I came from. I treasure the place. I think it's beautiful, and obviously we didn't kind of secure anything, or we haven't yet secured anything there for us to say, go back, this is ours, because we've been based in England and we've just been focusing on being here. But obviously now, because of health reasons, it's difficult for me to go there and say stay there. But I would love to be able to leave here November and come back about March, April. And I think for me it would be beneficial, because I think that as someone who was born in that climate, there needs to be some time now that I'm older where I can go in there and adapt, and my body can kind of come back to where it was or where it should be, rather. I'd love to be able to go down there and live, but not possible. But I will visit as much as I can. Hmm.
So when you were growing up, what were you told that you could not do when you were in Carriacou by your parents?
Um, what you have to remember is that my mom left me when I was about 4 or 5, so there wasn't a lot. I remember going to school in Mount Pleasant for a short time, and then going to Dover, where I lived with um my grandmother, with Aunt Rosie and Uncle Sydney, and I remember my grandmother doing all the cooking, where she used to grate a coconut or corn, and she used to make green corn dumplings and things like that. We used to sit down, used to watch her. She used to put me between her legs, and because we had two houses, there was a big house and the little house, and the kitchen was adjoined to the little house, and she used to sit in the door and she used to grate a corn and grate a coconut and do what she was doing and cooking, give us. It was good while she was there. It was. When I think about it, it was really enjoyable with her. But then she didn't stay with us very long
So was she a
after my
good
mom
cook then?
left. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
else can you remember about Rosie?
Um, she was loving. Never, I always remember how caring she was. And sometimes, I don't know if my cousins remember this, but I don't know if she used to spoil me. I don't know what it was, but I remember there were times when me and the two older ones used to be in like fighting, and she used to grab me. Listen, most times she used to put me between her legs so that they couldn't come to me like a protector. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's probably the best part of my life that I've had when you think about it. Yeah, most love and most protection. Yeah, definitely from her. Hmm.
What kind of woman was she?
how could I describe her other than, was she, I wouldn't even say she was a disciplinarian. I can't say that because of my age. It was difficult. I just know about the loving and the protection that I got from her as a young child. I remember that and it sticks in my mind. I talk about it all the time.
You can't remember your granddad? I'm
No,
joking.
no, no, no. I think he died 1950. Yeah, so I was about a year old.
Do you know anything about him?
No, only the way he died. That's all. That he left the house and he went down to Bogles and he collapsed and died. That's all I know. Don't know anything more about him. Mm.
Do you know anything about your grandparents on your other side, the family, your dad's side?
No,
Nothing.
no. Mm.
Interesting. So, moving on to like folk stories. So, what did people say would happen if you saw a large bless or any spirit or anything like that?
I know the word jobless, yeah, and I think was it carnival time or if someone had died. I can't exactly remember exactly what it was, but I remember when my grandmother passed and my aunt came from Trinidad to look after us. So there was a day I was coming from school and I'm walking from Dover coming to Meldrum, and when I got adjacent to the cemetery, I heard my name being called and it was like, Sharon, Sharon, Sharon. And when they answered the third time, when I heard it the third time, I answered and I got home. And when I got home, I said to my aunt, I says, Grandma was calling me because it sounded as if it was her. And I said to her, Grandma was calling me today. And she says, did you answer her? So I says, yes. She says, how many times did she call you? I said, 3 times. And she says, you answered her. And I said, yes. She says, she's coming for you tonight. She's coming for you tonight. Anyway, the night I went to bed and we used to sleep on the mattress on the floor. And I was so frightened. I was petrified because this woman just died. She was buried. How can she come for me? Kind of thing. And I took the blanket I was covering in those sheets and I covered myself. And she sat on the bed and she looked at me and she says, you think you can stop her? You think you can stop her? Even when you cover up your head, she's going to come for you. That was one of the most frighteningest things that ever happened to me. And I don't forget it. I don't forget it at all because I just think that that was awful to do to a child, what, 6 years of age? That is too much. And I don't know. I don't know if I resented my aunt for that. I think I probably did. I think I did resent her for putting that fear in me because I don't ever remember having any kind of real bond or relationship with her, even though she was looking after her. And then what she used to do was school used to finish at 3 o'clock. Yeah. And you're coming from school and you come straight home. There's nowhere for you to go. You just have, and she used to meet me down the road with the tambourine whipping her head and then beat me. When school finished, come home. But that's what I'm doing. There was there was two girls who used to live across the road from us, Anne Prime and her sister. And it was always me and Anne walking from school together. And that woman used to just beat me unnecessarily. There was a time one morning, Lee, I went to get water, and when I was coming back with the water, you have the water on you have your cattle and your buckets on your head with the water, and I came past this house. Was it the Quashies? I think it was a Quashie, and they had a dog, and the dog ran out and bit me on the back of my leg. The mark's still there. And when obviously the water, I didn't throw the water away, it fell because I'm being bitten by a dog. And she beat me. She beat me. She beat me for that water. It's horrible. So all that loving that I had for that, probably, I don't even know if it was a year that my grandmother was there to give me that protection. I just went down the pan. It wasn't good. It wasn't nice.
Terrible.
It wasn't nice at all. Mm.
So, so that's what people. So, was there anyone else, like elders around, that that you could get support from? Or were they all in England? Was it just that time of the when people used to come and leave?
See, the thing is, it was just my two aunts and my uncle that was there. And because she was the oldest one, I think they have this thing that the oldest one puts the rules out. So you
Right.
have to go by whatever the oldest one uses. And she was in control, and she took control of whatever she was doing. Because if she beat you now, when my uncle came home, because he was the head teacher at the time, and when he came home, he would beat you again if you needed the beating, or he'd come home. And if they couldn't find a reason to beat you, what they used to do was he used to come home and want us to do work, schoolwork, dictation, comprehension, arithmetic, spelling, and everything. And if you didn't do it right, you can't go out and play, and you're getting beaten until you get it right. And it was because she told him to beat. He wasn't beating you of his own accord. It was because big sister told him to do it.
And did any of this get back to your parents?
I think it did, and I think that's why my mom sent for all five of us one time, because it wasn't easy then. But my youngest brother, he lived in Bogles, and when my mom said she sent for the five of us one time, we all came. And I've heard stories that people were coming and they were telling my mom things that was happening, and that's why they decided to send for us.
So those people couldn't really interfere or didn't want to interfere.
Didn't want to, I think. I don't think they wanted to, or yeah, I don't think they wanted to.
Wow.
And I think because also because that I don't know how to say this. That family was what could I use to describe? They kind of in they're just close. They how can I say that? They keep each other's skeletons.
Right.
It's not allowed to be exposed. It must stay within
Mm.
that family group. So there's no way people outside are not going to come in and try to get involved in any way. And if as long as they can protect whatever's happening within, it will stay in there. They won't let it out.
Is that typical of the Caribbean or of Carriacou?
I think it's typical of, should I say black? Do you think black is the right word to you? Of typical, I don't know, typical of black people.
That was your experience.
Yeah. hmm
Mm.
And now that I am older and I know what life is, I think it's definitely a black thing. I don't know if it goes back to um, a slave mentality where they were tortured and and they keep it between them. They'd sit down and moan about it amongst themselves. I don't know if that's where it comes from, but it's quite common. quite common. They keep things within their circles and they don't let it out.
Mm. So, did you ever speak to your parents about this?
Before about a year and a half before my mum died, she asked me, she said to me, do I forgive her for what happened when she left us home? And I asked her, I turned to her and I said to her, forgive you. I said, if they had told you that they couldn't look after us, what would you have done? And she said that she would have had to stay because we're her children. She would have had to stay and look after us. And I just told her, there's nothing for me to forgive you for. She ain't done nothing wrong. Everyone would like to know that they could trust their brother or sister to look after their kids. It's just that she couldn't. I mean, if my brothers or sisters brought their kids here, I'm dealing with them right. But I don't know if it's because of the experience that I've had. But I wouldn't ill treat them in any way. And and naive as I am, I think I am. I expect my brothers and sisters to do the same. It's,
Gosh. So, when you look at the stories that you were told, obviously you told us about that one. Was there anything? Did you hear of any other stories or experience anything in Carriacou?
about a few months before we left Carriacou to come to England, my uncle sent myself and my brother to a shop. I think the man's name was Mr. Prime, at the top of the road anyway, to go and get some crackers. And you took that walk from where Uncle Till's house is, you have to walk out to the main road and you walk up to the shop. And when we came out onto the road, there was a lorry parked because this man had come from town. He lived in town and he came over to Cousin Mina's house. And the way he was parked, side of the lorry was down in like a little gully.
Mm.
And we passed the lorry and we went up to the shop and we got the crackers and we came back down. And when we came back down and we got to the lorry, the engine turned on. There was no one, I swear, there was no one. There was no one in that lorry that night. And the engine turned on. And when the engine turned on, we turned to go into along the path to get to the house. And the lorry turned and came down the path behind me and my brother. And we screamed. And when we screamed, my uncle come out and shone the torch, grabbed the torch, and the engine just switched off. It just switched off. And before, I used to cry. Tears used to come to my eyes every time I thought about it. But now I'm getting used to just talking about it. But I don't know what happened that day. I don't know if it was jobless. I don't know what it was. But there was no one in the car in the lorry, because when that lorry stopped and with the screams and the torch, was it Cousin Mina and Teacher Cat? Was it? It was Cousin Mina and someone else, and everybody came out, right? And the lorry just stopped dead. That was just before we left to come to England. No,
Wow.
if you talk to my brother will tell you about it. He'll tell you. We talk about it from time to time, but it's strange. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I don't.
So, was the lorry going fast? Or was it just
No,
rolling?
no, it wasn't. It was almost like it had to take a. Let me see. You got 180. About a 245-degree turn,
Wow.
because it wasn't like straight. It was like turned. And
You think it was trying to scare you or just.
who was trying to scare me?
Yeah.
Yeah, who, yeah,
Yeah. What?
who, who, sometimes now I sit and I think to myself, I wonder if they didn't want us to come to England, whoever it was, or whoever, when they, I don't know. Let me just leave it there and stop letting my imagination run away with me. Yeah,
No.
because it's just, I don't know. I
So,
don't know.
as children, did children actually, or did they believe all these stories that were going around about Laja Bless and Sukunya?
Put the fright of God in you. So, oh, I forgot about that word as well. No, that put the fright in. I mean, it's like when my aunt told me about grandma was gonna come for me that night. Can you imagine the fear in a 5-year-old child? It was horrible. And they do that to kind of keep you in line, basically. That's what it I think that's what it is all about, just keeping people in line. But what a horrible way.
Horrible. Oh my
Mm-mm.
God.
But then half of those people, none of, well, not half of them, none of them are there now.
Mm.
And you go back and you see the place, and it's beautiful.
Mm. Yeah.
Jobless.
Sorted.
When
Jobless.
when
Anything else
when
about
did we used to have the jobless? When did they used to go around jobless? Or they used to tell you that jobless would attack you or all this. I
what would they do to you? Possess you or something?
can't exactly remember what, but I know the whole thing, this jobless thing was frightening. You'd be scared to go out at nights, basically. Once it got dark, you don't leave your house, because if you leave your house, this jobless is gonna take you away. Oh my gosh! Oh,
So they traumatized you.
exactly. They traumatize you with beating. They traumatize you with jobless. They traumatize you with every. Yeah, it was, and probably it's a good thing that we did leave, isn't it? To
Yes.
come and get an experience, because you grow up with that thing in you.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, what would you want someone visiting Carriacou to experience now? Someone new was going who hadn't been. What would you want them to experience?
I think the whole culture in Carriacou is brilliant. Leave anyway. You don't hear much about Jobless now, so the whole culture, the whole thing, yeah. Go down carnival time, regatta, or whatever, and just have fun time. The beaches are there. You sit in town, do whatever, and it's such a relaxing atmosphere anyway. This busy lifestyle that you have when you travel abroad, and then you get down and you realize that, oh, I can relax. I can actually sit and just chill. Yeah, it's a good thing.
So, why is Carriacou special to you now at this age, young age you are at?
Because it's where I'm from. It's where I'm from. And no matter what experiences I went through as a child, I'm now older and I know better. I know half of these stories don't exist, these things don't exist. So I want to go back to where I came from, and I want to enjoy it in the way that I should have enjoyed it as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't got the energy, but it's still nice to be able to go back and sit and relax. This is my home. My home.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to talk about, Carriacou?
Mm, do you know when we had the reunion in 2003?
Mm-hmm.
It was such a magnificent time. It was absolutely brilliant, and we were actually we basically ran the whole thing, and it was just being there and being able to do things the way we wanted it done, say what was going to happen. And I think that just made it brilliant, because no matter what, some of the people who were there when we were young were still there, but now they didn't really have a say in what was happening. And I'm sure they enjoyed it. I'm sure they all enjoyed it. So it would be nice to go back now, because it's a different era. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome, my dear. You're welcome.